Good afternoon, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the BMR Bookmaker Review NBA Show. I'm your host for today, Junior Browne, joined as always by the homie, Jordan Sharp. You know my guy, Jay Money with the fire picks. Last night was actually a pretty good slate of games. I was kind of all over the place, tuning into different games, trying to see some stuff. I don't usually do a recap, so I'm just going to give my observations so I don't be long-winded. First of all, I hit both my plays. I hit the under, Wizards, Wolves, and Cavaliers +6. Cavaliers defense is for real. In Miami, you do have to chalk it up to an off night. Obviously, the roster missing pieces contributed to that, but the Cavaliers are just a much improved team. Even though the Hornets lost that game against the Bucks, the Hornets kind of showed me something. The Hornets, I won't be fading the Hornets in anything more than 2 possessions for the next little bit because their offense is really clicking. They're playing with a lot of confidence. The Kings look much better without Luke Walton. It's still too early to say that, but they just look like they're playing a lot more freely, having a lot more fun. And the Celtics offense literally hurts all 4 of my eyes. My eyes literally start burning me when I watch this garbage-ass Celtics offense. Jordan, what did you think of last night?
Last night, not a great one for yours truly. 1-2 on the official show picks. I'll start with the good. Ended up recommending the Celtics money line yesterday, not the spread. That ended up being an excellent decision. I kind of knew once that got to 3 that it was money line or nothing for me, and they ended up making me sweat all the way through that one. But absolutely horrendous couple of losses from yesterday. Had the Pelicans and the under in that game. Where do I start? Dallas looked good, but the Pelicans just did not come to play. They looked lackadaisical on defense. It was an embarrassing showing. Pretty much no one was playing hard on their end of the floor. Dallas was getting everything he wanted. It was basically like a buffet line for Luka Doncic to get into the paint of that game because he would just dribble, get in the paint. No one would really put a body on him. That he'd either get an easy 10-footer or dish off to somebody for an open three-pointer. Some terrible defense for them, giving up 139 yesterday. So 1-2 for me. Going to try to bounce back here today. Nothing official yet, though, so we're just going to try to find some good plays for you two. How about you, Jay?
Yeah, it was a good day yesterday, man. Unfortunately, I lost the play on the show that he couldn't make any shots, but it happens. I lost that first half. Got to give credit to the Cavs that they play defense no matter where they go, but I still think you can beat them if you're a good jump shooting team. He just couldn't make any threes. The Hornets, man, that was a good one. Like I said, if people know how to live bet, you watch these games, man. You could have got Bucks live. You could have got the Hornets live. So it's a lot of different stuff. But yeah, the Hornets came to play it now when the Bucks kind of looking ahead to the next game. The Mavs, I had to hop on my Mavs first half full game. They went out there and smacked it. I knew it was a must-win game for the Mavs, and now when they went and smacked those boys up 139-107. Paul George, you sit out. You think you're still going to win the game? I'm glad that the Clippers lost. Then maybe these guys will stop doing it. You rest in the game saying you're in a bad spot, but none of the rest of the players are resting the game, right? They still have to play. So I'm glad that they lost, and the Thunder as well. I can't believe that they, on a 7-game lose streak now, they gave up a 41-point quarter to the Rockets with no Kevin Porter Jr., with no Christian Wood, and lost that game. So that was a tough one. And that was a damn good call by you, Jordan. I know I was looking at Celtics first quarter, first half, and you hit it right on the nail with that when they won by 1. You cashed that money line, but the Sixers still get their cash there. And I was also on the Nuggets. I liked the Nuggets early yesterday. Had a couple props in there with Aaron Gordon, Gary Harris going up against each other, their old teams. And I couldn't believe that the Nuggets pitched that one away, my guys. But same old Nuggets, not playing any defense. Let's get to today's games.
With that in mind, you heard the man, guys. Let's get to today's games. I'm going to kick it to my guy. Actually, you know what? I have a play on this game. So I'm going to stay. I'm going to get it started off, but I'll be quick so that the guys can give their opinions. I'm on the under here because I've been beating this subject. I've been beating this drum all season. Unless the Knicks finish in the top half of the league defensively, they will not be a playoff team. And even though their defense is not where it needs to be, they still have a lot of improving to do. It's been a lot better over the last couple of games. Now, they got to get out of this funk where they win one, lose one, win one, lose one. They haven't been able to win 2 straight since October. In November, they have not won 2 straight games as of yet. And I think that they realize that the only way that they're going to get out of this funk is by playing better defense. Like I just mentioned, it has improved recently. And the Chicago Bulls play defense all the time. Every single game, the Chicago Bulls come to play defensively. So I just feel that this game, if the Knicks stand any chance whatsoever, it's going to go under. Those are my thoughts. Jay, what you got?
Yeah, I hadn't bet this game yet. I do kind of like the Knicks in this game. I do like how they've been playing ever since Kemba Walker's been out of rotation. They're starting Burks. They're a lot better defensively now. I know RJ Barrett is questionable with the illness, but he was last game and ended up playing. And another thing, I think a hidden thing in this game, the Knicks obviously crying about a lot of foul calls in the last game. If you look at the last 2-minute report, I'm sure the officials always do. They missed a clear call, a clear double with KD in there. They missed some calls as well on Randall. He had got fouled. So I think that looking at that, it just could be one of those classic games where the refs kind of helping out the Knicks here. We know how the Bulls play defense. A couple of those ticky-tack fouls could be called early on DeRozan and Levine could really change the whole game. So I guess with the way that the last game went versus the Knicks versus the Nets and they lost that one, I'd be looking towards the Knicks to get the home win in this one. I like to look in the under 2 defensive teams, but nothing official for me on this one just yet, Jordan.
Yeah, nothing for me either on this one. The couple of things though, I will say I was looking at the under. The first thing that I looked at in this game, and kind of the one thing that's kind of held me off of that is, the Knicks defense has been pretty good, but the Bulls have actually played pretty fast on the road this season. They're 7th in road pace this year through 11 games, and that scares me just a little bit here because I think they will try to speed the Knicks up and get the Knicks playing uncomfortable. Not the brand of basketball they want to play is an up-tempo kind of game. And obviously the slight revenge game, if you think about earlier in the year for the Bulls here where they lost and were getting handled in that game, first game against the Knicks pretty easily. And then the last 3 minutes, the Knicks almost blew it, and DeRozan had a shot at the end of that game to win it. If the Bulls come out and play even just 20-30% better than they played in that game, they'll win this game. Obviously some personnel issues. Don't have Kobe White, but didn't have him in that game either. So not a huge deal for them. But a little bit scared off of the under here. I will say that's kind of probably the best play for me in this game. I don't think I could touch the spread. These 2 teams are pretty evenly matched. I think that like Jay mentioned, the Knicks and Junior, both of you guys said the Knicks have been starting to turn things around. I'm not necessarily ready to say that their defense is going to get back to where it was, but if it gets back to somewhere close to that, this is a pretty tight game. In one possession, I think the spread's pretty right. So going to definitely stay off that end. But yeah, lean under. I don't know if I'm going to get there, though, just because I think the Bulls' game plan tonight is going to be to make the Knicks uncomfortable and make them play from behind. And that the only way to do that, I think, is to speed up this game and go small basically as much as possible. So I'm going to stay away from that one.
Yeah, just to touch on my earlier points, and then we'll move on to the next game. One of the reasons I'm on the under here is because the Knicks' defense in the last month is top 10. Considering in the first 3-4 weeks of the season, they were like 24th, 25th. It seems that Coach Thibodeau has kind of, gotten some of the new guys to buy in. And let's just be clear. The main reason that Thibodeau doesn't want to play Kemba Walker is because he's a liability on defense. It's not because of his offense. His offense has actually been pretty decent considering the amount of minutes he plays. He only plays like 24 minutes a game, and his offensive output is still pretty good. It's his defense that is just unplayable for Thibodeau. So with that being said, I'm on the under in this game. But let's go ahead and get us to this next game. Bucks headed up north of the border to play the Raptors. I was going to kick it to Jordan first, but let's go with Jay again. Jay, I got nothing on this game. What you got for us here, buddy?
Yeah, this Bucks. Obviously, we got to wait. This is one where I've been waiting until the last minute to bet a lot of my games. To be honest with you, so I always try to come on the show with at least one look. But I wait until the last second to bet my games, especially all this injury BS, the COVID protocols, all this. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see the Bucks sit some guys out. They didn't play a good game yesterday. They played terrible. Actually, the Hornets were up by 18, 19 points in the first half. And when you play the game, you come out terribly like that. You have to come back all the way to expend a lot of energy to come back and win. It's almost like you're having to play two games. Trust me, I'm a basketball player. It's just you have to turn up and literally get ready for two games. But if they play everybody, I'll be on Bucks first quarter, first half in this one. Obviously, they're sitting some guys and I'm staying off. But I could see the Raptors coming back in the second half, taking advantage of some tired legs. But they did beat the Bucks twice last year. A little bit two different teams, though. The Bucks weren't as good, and the Raptors were a lot better. They still had Lowry. They still had OG Anunoby that they could throw at Giannis. And the Bucks didn't have Drew Holiday yet. So I think that they, like I say, with Holiday, Middleton, and Giannis, all three of those in this game, and no matter what happens with Gary Trent Jr., I'll be on the Bucks early in this one because just the Raptors are struggling to score right now.
Yeah, this is another one where I wanted to come with a play also, but then you don't know what Milwaukee's doing here in this game, and also they've performed pretty well on the second night of no rest, so don't want to like completely write them off here to get the full game cover. But yeah, only way I could look at this here would be either the early side on the under or the early side for the Bucks here. Toronto, if Gary Trent Jr. doesn't play again, which he's questionable, I think about last time I looked. Let me double check here just real quick. Yeah, he's still questionable for tonight. Yeah, so I mean like. Without him and OG potentially again, they look terrible without those two guys the other night. I can't really trust them against even a tired Bucks team is probably still going to be able to handle them pretty easily. But like Jay said, the question is what happens in the second half. If they ended up letting their foot off the gas pedal, if assuming they have a lead here at halftime, that could easily come back and get the Raptors to cover here. They're still a hard-nosed team. They're still gonna at least be very comparable on the defensive end to what they've been here so far this season, especially here. With the Bucks tired and playing in Toronto here in this one too. So yeah, tough one to handicap with this one. I think the total movement surprises me a little bit with the fact that Trent is questionable still and didn't play last game, and also Bucks still haven't put out their injury report, which very easily I think could rest a guy coming off a game last night here. So a lot of things working against my leans here in this one. So I think I'm going to stay away on this one as well.
For what it's worth, Junior, I do think Gary Trent is coming back today. They sent a couple of players down to G League, which the beat writer saying he's thinking that they're saying that Gary Trent Jr. will be back today. For what it's worth.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. The only way I could look in this game is towards the under for a couple of different things that y'all said. Players might be resting. The Raptors offense, the sign of a bad offensive team is when they come down the court to me and every basket looks like they had to put maximum effort to get that basket. And that's what I see with the Raptors right now. Like every basket is like if I see Pascal Siakam do that stupid fucking spin move one more goddamn time, son, I would bench him for a while. Like, go back to the gym and get some more moves in your toolbox, my guy, because we all know you drive left, spin right. The whole world knows this. Stop it already with this. No, but all jokes aside, Gary Trent Jr. usually you wouldn't emphasize his importance to a team, right? He's a rotation player, but to this team, they need him to space the floor. They need his points and they need his floor spacing. So Jay's absolutely right, and Jordan. Unless you know Gary Trent Jr. is playing for sure, plus the situation with the Bucks, I think, 215 is this total? That's a lot of points for these two teams because these two teams usually are pretty good defensively. So that would be my lean, but nothing official in this game. With that in mind, let's bring on the next game where I do have a pick, so I'll go first. I got the under in this game too. The Suns and the Pistons. I got the under 208 here. I actually was about to take Detroit +4 in the first quarter. I think anything, I've mentioned this a million times on this show, anything over 3 in the first quarter, it's a lot. That being said, you're talking about a team on a super long win streak against a team on a super long losing streak. I kind of just don't want to be the guy that bets against those trends. So I'm going to stay away from that. But I swear to God, as I'm even saying this, I'm almost talking myself into at least a little sprinkle on the Pistons first quarter. But my official play is the under. The Suns have shown you the recipe: defense, defense, and more defense. And when I watch them, first of all, they're playing without Devin Booker, and even with Devin Booker, they're another team, guys. When they're off offensively, it's ugly. I feel like the Suns are one of those teams that's smart enough to be like, if we just clamp down on defense, we don't have to shoot a million threes. We don't have to run up and down. We just got to be efficient, let the point guard Chris Paul run the offense, get guys quality looks, but most importantly, play enough defense to get out of here with a win without expending all of our energy. They only expend really big amounts of energy against the teams that are on their level. So I feel like they come into this game tonight, play a lot of defense, do what they got to do. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to bet on the Pistons team total. I just don't have that in front of me. I don't see any way the Pistons get to 100 points. Jordan, what you got?
Yeah, you got to think that with a game tomorrow against a much better opponent, Phoenix is going to try to get this game over as early as possible. And that's been their MO basically all season, right? They play fast, they play tight defense, and then they just strangle you in the second half if they have the lead. And, they've had some games where they've gotten blown out too, obviously, but this win streak has been pretty telling for this team, you're right, because they've gotten it done for the most part on defense. They've done enough on that end of the court to make up for when their offense isn't looking its best. And now without Booker, though, you're telling me here on the first night of a back-to-back against a marquee opponent tomorrow, a team they just beat the night before, and now they're playing the worst team in the league, even without your best player, and they're getting spotted 12 points here. It is a little bit suspect because I could easily see the Suns getting up a big lead here and then the Pistons coming and backdooring this thing towards the end of it. That being said, you're exactly right, Junior. Can you even trust that the Pistons are going to score, even if the Suns play just average defense? Even if they're not playing up to their complete potential tonight, the Pistons still may not get to 100 to 105 points in this game either. So very much tough to trust either of these teams on a full game spread. I think Suns first half would be the only way I could look at this game. And just to point to what Junior said, the one thing that's kind of keeping me off of the total here to a certain extent is that Phoenix's offense on the second night of no rest, at least their last two games. I know they played the Nets on no rest. I can't remember who their other one was against, but they look pretty good in those games offensively here. Now without Devin Booker, though, it is a question in my mind of whether or not they can just plug and play guys and against a team like the Pistons. You're not going to obviously replace Devin Booker against a quality opponent, but against a team like the Pistons, whether or not his absence is going to matter too much. Tomorrow is where you're going to see his absence matter a lot. I know we've been talking about that game all week, so I know we'll have a lot to say about it as well tomorrow. But for me, it just scares me here if you're laying this many points with the Phoenix, knowing they have a game tomorrow, knowing they're without their best player, and knowing that they could easily give another guy a night off here to prepare for that game. So I'm going to stay away.
Yeah, and guess what, Jordan? I'm sure that they're looking at it like that as well. It's a sandwich spot, man. I'm going with the Pistonians. It's a small play for me, but give me the Pistons plus the 12.5, my guys. I know that the Suns on a 17-game win streak, and I'll be honest, I have a rule that says don't bet against the streaks. I bet against the Suns. I took the Nets against that one. Obviously, they were laying points. So even the bookmakers thought they was going to win their game. It was the 5th game in 7 nights, 4th and 6, back-to-back, all that, on the road, all that. It was a spot. Suns still overcame it, right? But maybe the Nets are just trash. Now, no one's getting up to play the Pistons, right? And that's when the Pistons can really surprise some people. So they're not going to win this game, but I definitely could see them only losing by 6 or 7 points, keeping this one within the double digits full game here. If the Suns are up 20 in the fourth quarter, I do think that they'll kind of mill this one in and get ready for the game versus the Warriors tomorrow. So I don't think that the Pistons will ever be out of this game. This kind of takes me back to the Clippers spot as well. Really good defensive team, and the Pistons came back from down 30 on them boys to cover that 11.5. Trust me, I know I had the 11.5, and they came all the way back to lose by 11. I couldn't freaking believe it, but it happened. The Suns aren't that same team, but they are missing their best player, one of their best players, Devin Booker. You know what you're missing? You're missing all those bullshit foul calls that Devin Booker tries to go out there and get. You're missing about a good 20, 30 points. I know Landry Shamet stepping in. Suns can still get this one done with their defense, but this is just a spot play for me. It's a sandwich spot. You come off their win versus the Warriors at the house. Now, who you're going to face tomorrow night on the big Friday night game? The Warriors again without Booker. So They just want to go in here and get this win, 18th straight win to be a franchise record, and then I think it ends tomorrow. I could definitely see an under, even with all I'm saying. I could still see an under in this one, but only thing I'm worried about, if we don't get the Suns' best game, will they not give as much effort on defense? So regardless here, give me the double digits here with the Pistonians. This is the last game of the road trip, but it could be a Super Bowl type of game. They're 5-6 against the spread on the road. The Suns are only 6-5 against the spread at the house. Give me the Pistons here.
Great analysis by both my guys here. Like I always say, it's one of the reasons I love doing the show. You guys are, first of all, J Money basically just talked me into taking the Pistons.
I know, it's same.
I'll just tell you that right
It's just a little small play. It's a small play, but I like the spice. You know what I'm saying? I always try to tell people, that's what I'm betting. I don't make anybody else bet it, though, but I do like the spot, though.
We'll sprinkle on that. And with that said, let's get to this next game, which I don't have a play on, but it's a little sneaky, this one. It's a little sneaky. I know I'm accused of hating the Blazers, but you could accuse me of the same thing with the Spurs. I mean, these are literally the two teams that I don't ever bet on. At +5, though, with no Damian Lillard, and again, guys, I know I probably, because my friends, whenever I argue with my friends about basketball, I always say the same shit to them. Like, yo, dog, you don't watch games. If you watch games, you wouldn't say the things that you're saying. I could tell you don't watch games. So, that being said, if you watch games, DeJounte Murray is slowly playing the best basketball he's probably ever played in his life the last, 2 weeks. And he would be the guy responsible for slowing down Dame. So now you got no Dame, a DeJounte full of confidence who can now kind of probably focus on CJ McCollum while getting his own. The Spurs look a little they look tricky. I'm saying they look tricky. The only thing that has stopped me from taking them at +5 is that Portland's won 10 straight home games or something like that. So it's not like Portland's playing terrible, but it's just obviously any team without Damian Lillard is not going to be the same. I see value in Portland +5. Jordan, talk me out of it.
No, in San Antonio +5, you mean, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just getting ready to say the first thing. This is the one lean that I have that's kind of like I'm real freaking close because I know you guys both hate these teams. I don't like the Blazers they're just absolutely impossible to handicap from that perspective. And I've preached that they need to kind of mini blow it up basically before the season even started. Yeah, they've been really good at home, but you're telling me that without your best player, with your third best player questionable, who hasn't played in the last 2 games, and one of your best defenders, Nas Little, is out, and you've been taking steam. You've gone from 3.5 to 5-point favorites at home, yes, where you play immensely better than you do, but then you have a Spurs team coming in who, their offense is almost impossible to watch at times, but their defense has been pretty good at times this year. They're playing hard, and you're right, they got a lot of guard depth that is just going to give this Portland team a fit on the perimeter here, especially without Damian Lillard. Damian obviously not a defender, but he is at least good enough to make the opposing player who's guarding him work really hard so his offense takes a hit. And you're exactly right. DeJounte Murray now free reigning. That dude's almost averaging a triple-double this year. What is he, 18, 9, and 9 almost? He's going to wreck my most improved bets because I didn't put one on him simply because of how well he's playing on both ends of the court. And you talk about he could easily be the best player in this game without Lillard on the court. I mean, all signs point to San Antonio, man. Strong, heavy lead on the Spurs, and it's probably the only play today that I will get to or even get close to getting to because the Spurs, they don't perform up to par every night. They're a very young team. They are extremely inconsistent, especially on the offensive end. But you're telling me the Portland Blazers defense is going to slow them down tonight, especially without their best player making shots? I just can't see it, guys. Spurs are nothing for me. If this line goes up any further past 2 possessions, if I'm getting 5.5 or 6 before this one, I'm not going to be able to keep from handling myself. I'm going to take the Spurs here.
Yeah, the only way I don't know why we're being scared, man. We all lean the Spurs. We might have to make this one a Triple J special. Yeah. I like the Spurs too, man. I actually had a Spurs socks on, to be honest with you. I told myself I like the Spurs today. This is 2 somewhat of the same type of teams, if you ask me. Real guard heavy, not a ton of bigs. You look at the Blazers, and if Powell's out, I can tell you for sure I'm on the Spurs. And that's the tipping point for me. I'm waiting on Powell. He is their best perimeter defender. And you look at the Blazers, what they do at the house, reason why they've been so good, their defense turns up at the house mainly in the second half. So without Powell, without their best defender, like you say, without Dame, it's tough for me to look at this, right? Because without Dame had been great this season, even though he started to pick it up. It's not. I don't feel like they're missing a ton without him, but like you say, they're missing little already. You already are great. He's a rotation guy right now. If they don't have Powell out there, their defense really get bad. I'm not an Anthony Simons guy at all. I actually might take his points prop under tonight because you're going to have Derek White or DeJounte Murray on Simons pretty much the whole game. The other one's going to have to be on CJ McCollum. Like, you're going to have to look at McCollum props in this one as well. He's going to be the main scorer for the Blazers. They only have 3 ball handlers out there. CJ McCollum, who's really not the point guard, but he still can handle the ball. CJ McCollum, Anthony Simons, Dennis Smith Jr., and maybe CJ Ellerby, but this guy was playing in the summer league. They only have 3 point guards out there, and I mean, like I say, CJ's really not even a guard. So this guy's going to have some heavy usage minutes tonight. Any one of those 3 guys get in foul trouble, mainly Simons and CJ McCollum, it's going to be tough for the Blazers tonight. So, and I think that 3.5 to 5 is all public money here. I like that. The Spurs have slowly been playing better. It was at the house. They come off a 4-game stand at the house. So my system would tell me to take Blazers in the first quarter here, and I still think it could hit. But full game, I'd be looking at Spurs in this one. I think their defense can show out, and I think that they have some matchups that favor them, in my opinion. So Spurs plus the 5, the only way I would look in this one. Waiting on Norman Powell. If he's out, I'm definitely taking the Spurs, my guys.
Y'all heard it here. The Valleys with the Spurs. Again, I'm probably going to hop on it, a little sprinkle. I might even do Spurs Pistons money line.
Triple J special today.
Yo, we might.
Hey, them dogs barking. I'll be honest, bro.
Minus OKC. Don't take points with OKC tonight, please.
I don't give a damn. I'm standing far away from the Thunder, but I'll tell you that's the only way I could bet in that game. I'm not discussing it, but that's the only way I could look. The only favorite I like today is the Bucks. I like every other dog in Thunder as well.
Yo, the dogs are barking. You heard it from my guy Jay Money and no saguates. We're talking real dogs. Jay, saguates is what they call street dogs in Costa Rica. No saguates, bro. only real dogs. With that being said, let's get to our picks.
Let's get to it, my guys.
All right, so I got my 2 picks. I'm rolling with some totals here. Totals last year did me really good, and I'm starting to kind of get a better understanding of what's going on this season. I've got the under 209.5 in Bulls Knicks and under 208 in Pistons Suns. Jay, what you got?
Yeah, Pistons for me plus 12.5 official. It did come down to 12, right? Everybody betting on the Suns, right? Come down from 12, but I am taking the points in this one. It could be a dumb play. They could get smacked up by 20, guys. Anything can happen, but it is the best value play for me today. After that, I'd be a heavy lean to Spurs, waiting on some injury info with that one. Heavy lean to Knicks as well, home dog, and I'm leaning the Bucks as well. First quarter, first half. Just got to wait for some injuries. If there's no major injuries in those games, that's what I like today, man. So let's cash.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm going, guys. We're doing it. Spurs plus 5. I'm blocking it in as soon as we get off the show. You guys have convinced me. It's already leaning that way. I think we got to make it a Triple J special. Let's get Norm Powell to sit this one out.
Let's do it. I got the socks on, so I'm with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, throw me in there. Spurs official. You guys heard it here. Let's get this money. Thank you to my guys, Jay and Jordan, as always, with the great analysis, fire picks, those free picks. In case some of y'all forgot, please make sure to check out Bookmaker Review, not only for our articles, but for the other shows on this channel. There's a lot of great shows on the channel. Y'all see what it is. You see the movement. You see we're coming back in full force. Soccer, basketball. I was almost going to say hockey. Probably get that soon too. NFL, call it whatever you want. We got it here at Bookmaker Review. So please make sure you like, you share. And please subscribe so you don't miss any of the videos. My name is Junior Browne. I got my guy Jordan Sharp, my guy Jay Money. Same time, same place tomorrow. Thank you for joining.